Like, comment, and subscribe.
How to stop getting off on deviancy? That's a really good question, because that everyone struggles with the flesh.
In what sense?
So
Deviancy, I'm guessing
obviously we're
pornography.
talking about that.
I mentioned this last week, I think, when we spoke, that those are things that we would see as being secondary processes, right? Addiction specifically, as it relates to pornography, which I think, Zherka, we said we would address this on the stream today. Pornography is loneliness, it's isolation, right?
Yeah.
The porn use is like I said, it's a secondary process following that, right? So the argument that we make in psychology is that there's a critical period that exists in childhood specifically, where you need to feel connected to the mother. You need to, I don't want to get too technical into this, but we have a concept known as projective identification, where the infant projects the base instincts that it has for death and life, and the mother provides meaning to it. But if the mother doesn't do a good job, or not just the mother, it could be any other caregiver, but if that job isn't done effectively, the infant starts to feel very alone in that process, and it doesn't develop a sense of...
It's so bad when you answer that way without... I'm so used to YouTubers, how they answer. You could have just hammered in an example. So you said, oh, the infant projects and the mother adds meaning.
The mother
is
the
give us an
yeah.
example. Without an example, that's just big words.
The argument that I'm making here is that if the mother cannot give meaning to the anxieties that the infant has, the infant will start to experience loneliness and isolation, and that will manifest as porn use.
But how would she give meaning to it?
If for example, the infant is the instincts that the infant will experience are death and life. So life would be nurturance, and death would be the fear that, you know, it's going to be hurt, or whatever it may be, right? And so the mother gives meaning to that by saying, no, I'm here to protect you, or, oh, what you're experiencing right now is hunger. It's something that, you know, can be dealt with, as an example, right? The argument here, the biological argument would be that as the blood sugar drops, the infant experiences hunger, but that hunger is anxiety provoking for the infant. And so the mother gives meaning to that by saying, oh, you're hungry. There's something that can be addressed, that can, you know, you can be fed, and it's not something to be afraid of. That would be the providing meaning to the biological experience of what hunger is, which itself is a derivation of the instinct of the death instinct, let's say.
Hold on.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, or I'll give a really simple example. Have you noticed that when men have girlfriends, they stop watching? And have you guys noticed that? Unless you're a fucking absolute loser.
It can be, but have you
unless you're an absolute fucking loser. But no, I'm saying that's a good example to start from. Like when you close your eyes and imagine you with a girlfriend, it becomes a different system in your day where you don't have that rub it out. It's not there. And if you do, then you don't even want to talk to the fucking bitch. Or maybe that's just my experience, but yeah. So I always say, if your life changes,
what I'm discussing is a concept known as existential isolation. You could be surrounded by people and still feel lonely. I've definitely experienced that myself. You can be surrounded by people if you don't, and I think a lot of it is happening.
No, that's different than a girlfriend. How the fuck are you lonely?
You can have a girlfriend and still feel something.
How the fuck?
That's what I'm saying. There's a critical period that needs to be undone.
No way. If you have a loving girlfriend and still feel lonely, you're a bitch, bro. What the fuck? Like, what the? How are you how's she loving if you're lonely? that means she's not loving. It's like,
But
right?
it has nothing to do with her, what she's. It has nothing to do with what she's projecting. It has everything to do with what you're perceiving. That's the argument.
Right.
You lack you lack the equipment, let's say the tools, whatever it may be, to access that love, that attention. Even ideally you want somebody who's unconditionally loving towards you, but some people do lack those antenna, right? They don't perceive that. That happens all the time.
Oh, so I'm wrong.
You disagree?
Am I wrong? All right. No, obviously I agree because I'm wrong.
You're the guy who for as long as I've known you, you've always said perception is reality, and now you go against that idea.
No, that's why I'm saying I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I just think if she's doing her nurturing job, which, by the way, I forgot where I read this, but it said if you don't have a girlfriend in life, you become very animalistic, because that embrace of like family is never goes away from your mind. So whether you're 25, 30, 35, 40, you need to have a partner. You need to. And to me, that's...
You should, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a warrior phase. I think 15 to 25, you'll be a millionaire if you don't. When we see like people like... If you have a partner, you'll never be a millionaire. At 21 years old with a partner, she will never make you a millionaire. But if you're alone 20 to 25 and you don't become a millionaire, you're the biggest loser on earth. Like, yeah, straight up.
I would agree with part of that. Up until, let's say, the age of 25, just to give numbers, I don't think it's exactly chronological, but you should be able to develop your own sense of your identity and then pursue the interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
Right. So you're right. I think up till 25, you should be focusing on yourself, just generally speaking.
You should actually see it as you're chiseling. My bad. You should actually see it as you should see it as those sculptures that chisel themselves. And if you don't do that process, you don't actually get a girlfriend, or you get what I like to call the phantom girlfriend, where she's with you, but since you're not a man, you're renting, it's temporary, right? And the phantom girlfriend is the root of all insecurity, because I'm 25 years old. Why did she leave me, bro? Because you're not actually 25. A 25-year-old has a fucking car and a house, you fucking loser. Like, bro, when I think of me getting... You know how quickly I got my life together? Oh, wow, look. I was given one little door of opportunity. Everyone on the Rod Show was given this door. None of them are doing content creation anymore because they all can't afford to pay their bills. And I'm the only one who stuck to it even when I was broke. Like, I made money, lost money, made money. I just stuck to it. And the argument is I'm the greatest podcaster in all human history. Like, Joe Rogan, when he started 40 years ago, he wasn't getting 2 million hits off Bradley Martin. He was getting... It took Joe Rogan 40 years of networking with Hollywood to get up there. So imagine me at 50 years old. That's why I should stay healthy, bro. Because at 50, when the whole liberal elites of Hollywood go away and the MAGA people become... I think there's going to be a new dynasty class of MAGA people. This is how I see it. Because have you noticed the populist message now is MAGA? Where there was a time before Biden when it was Hillary and Trump as the Hegelian dialect that battles. There was a time where there are real liberals on earth. But now it seems like there's lukewarm liberals where I don't like Biden either. I don't like Biden either. They say that. But they used to actually say Hillary's good, Hillary's this, and now they've changed their whole fucking talking points. And in my head, I'm like, that just means they're going purple, and that means the future is going to be red, but it's going to be after the chaos, after the flames. And something that really stands out to me is, I know I'm yapping, but if Zherka, if it, like in Jungian psychology, I wouldn't be an explorer seeking freedom. I'd be an outlaw seeking liberation, which is two different things. Because that means, depending on what timeline Zherka's born, let's say it was the 80s. In the 80s, I would be a punk rocker.
Right.
In the 80s, because it would be counterculture.
That's the archetype that drove everything that happened last year. The contrarian belief systems, the pushback.
No, but think about it. That means everything, like that means nurture is mega. It's not just nature's huge, but if you think about it, well, Zherka's nature is counterculture, and the elites are just on me, and I have good reason to believe that. But if I was born in a different timeline, I would be one of the most mega hippies on earth. Or would my conservative nature of law and order, excuse me, fuck the law, just order, because I don't believe the laws are written by the good guys, right? Legislature is with Satanists right now. But when I think of it, would my nature, my conservative nature of order, hey, you gotta get your life together, would that voice speak to me in the middle of my hippie phase? Because if you think about it, bouncing life was kind of a hippie phase too. Like raves and blah blah blah. It wasn't working. I mean, I was always working, but it wasn't like an adult says that's not a job. Fucking, I gotta get a career and stuff. That's why I'm like, would my nature come speak to me if I was born in the 70s and say, drop the crack pipe, right? I mean, it didn't speak to me in this timeline. I didn't drop it in this timeline. How am I going to drop it then? But I'm wondering, if I am truly the outlaw, which outlaw is a bad thing. It means even in freedom, you feel contained. So you can get what you want and start bitching, right? And that means you just love the chaos and you're a chaos magician. You just want and I noticed that when I'm like, when there was riots happening and America was burning down, I was the only conservative who kind of enjoyed it. I watched the TV and I was like, look at that. Look at the elites, bro. Look what they gotta worry about at night.
I just think you're more comfortable in that. As much as you make the argument for law and order, I think there's a part of you that feels more comfortable in the opposite.
Rate, comment, subscribe, donate, so I can fucking order a fucking cheeseburger, lol.